Hi, in this presentation we are going to learn about typing text in LaTeX. But before we do anything else, let us rename the folder we got in the last presentation, Samples. Let us make a copy and call it Work. Whenever I tell you to get a sample file, get it from the work folder. We are going to make changes in the sample files, which will mess them up. So if you need a version copy, you go back to Samples, copy the file over to Work, and you will have the copy you originally started with. A typical sentence in LaTeX looks like this. It mixes text, like the first line, with mathematics, like the square root of 5, between the dollar signs, and with instructions to LaTeX, such as \emph, instructing LaTeX to emphasize text, and \latex, which instructs LaTeX to type the LaTeX logo. Here is the typeset version. You see that emph emphasized its argument, instructions to. You see the command square root in mathematics typesetting the square root of 5. So you see the three main parts from which a LaTeX sentence is put together. You type text in LaTeX the same way you type text in any other application, by hitting the keys of the keyboard. You should remember, however, that there are 13 keys you shouldn't use. Here are the 13 keys you shouldn't use. These are the 13 keys being shown, which are reproduced on page 9 of the short course. So let us start with some examples. We open up Work and we open up Note 1 Tech. Observe that, first of all, that the spaces in the source file don't play a very important role. 1 space, 2 spaces, 3 spaces, any number of spaces will just separate the words. A new paragraph, of course, is a new paragraph. Note also how nicely the typeset version is presented. The text is fully justified. The words are separated by flexible amount of spaces called the interword spaces. Here are some examples. And there is a somewhat larger space, like here, separating the sentences, called the intersentence space. We also use tilde as a space, for instance here. This is a so-called non-breakable space. Tilde means put a space between Prof and Rudy, but an end of line should not separate these two words. The two words cannot be broken apart. Note that quotation is typed as 2 single left quotes and 2 single right quotes. Remember that the quotation mark is on the list of 13 forbidden keys. You will observe in the other examples that the right margin is not only nicely flush right, but it's properly hyphenated and properly spaced most of the time. To illustrate the problems that may develop, open up Note 1b TAC. Look at the typeset version. You notice that we have two errors. The first line of the second paragraph is too long, and so is the first line of the third paragraph. Hamiltonian spills over because the word is Hamiltonian reduced that contains a hyphen. Latex will hyphenate a hyphenated word only at the hyphen, so it cannot hyphenate Hamiltonian. Hochschwabauer has a different problem. It is a German word, and the English hyphenation rules employed by Latex do not apply to this German word. Both errors are easy to correct. Put an optional hyphen in Hamiltonian. An optional hyphen is \hyphen, and put an optional hyphen in Hochschwabauer \hyphen. An optional hyphen allows Latex to hyphenate at that point. Look at the result. You see that we don't have any problems with line spilling over to the margin. To see some more features of typing text in Latex, open up Note 2 TAC and open up the typeset version. First of all, you see here the today command. This command will put in the typeset version the date for today's date. Now let us look at an environment. An environment starts with begin and the name of the environment, and ends with \end and the name of the environment. The flush right environment will flush the line or the lines to the right. The center environment will center the stuff in between. Notice again the emph command to emphasize, in this case italicize, and notice a brand new command texttt, which will typeset its argument in typewriter style. The double hyphen we see here is very important. It is an n dash, a longer hyphen, indicating range in numbers. And note the double \, which means new line. In this case, it's followed by a bracketed number, 22 pt, meaning 22 points, which says not only start a new line, but put 22 points between this line and the next. You can see that there is some extra room between this line and the next. And here is your first example of an accented character. The command, here is the accented character. As you see, the command for the A umlaut is a backslash quotation mark to precede the A. And if you go to Appendix C2, you will see all the commands for accents. Just remember, if you need an accented character, look it up in Appendix C2. It is very important to remember that accented characters have to be typed with commands. If you type an act with a keyboard combination, such as, let's type here use my, and let's type an A umlaut, typeset, and after use my, there is nothing. So you see that such accented characters in the source file will simply be ignored. So again, all accented characters have to be typed in with commands. If you need an accented character, look up the command in Appendix C2. For heaven's sake, don't try to memorize it. Appendix C2, whenever you need it, just go there and look up what you need. This is all we are going to cover about typing text in LaTeX. As you see, mostly you type whatever you would normally type. Of course, my book covers about 60 more pages on how to type text. For more detail, go to Part 2, Chapter 5, Typing Text, and Chapter 6, Text Environments. But for most of your text typing, what we have just learned is sufficient.